Hey, what's going on, you guys? My name is the Raptor, and welcome back to Who'd Win and Why. And this time we got another Spider-Man versus Batman debate. We got Lizard, the monstrous lizard from Marvel, going up against ManBat, the monstrous ManBat from DC. And it's my job to analyze their weapons, armor, and skills to find out who would win and why. No, I'm kidding. Sorry about that. Anyway, I know that a lot of people on different Versus series have suggested character like stuff like Lizard versus Killer Croc. Killer Croc is another Batman villain, and I understand why, but these characters actually do have a bit more in common when it comes to the whole backstory and origin side of things. And I'll get to more into that when I cover their when I briefly cover their origins. And if you did want to see Lizard versus Killer Croc on my show, don't worry, that fight has actually already been suggested by somebody, and I'm thinking that fight will probably show up in Season 3, but it will show up regardless, no matter where it goes, it will show up, so stay tuned for that. But anyway, that's not the fight we're talking about today. Today we're talking about Lizard versus ManBat. So, who'd win and why? Let's find out. So, we all know the backstory for Dr. Kirk Connors, the Lizard. He tried to use lizard DNA to regrow his arm, with the whole lizard regeneration thing, but it completely backfired. It backfired horribly. He got turned into a gigantic lizard, gigantic, relative, like he's bigger than Spider-Man, Like, I don't mean like, you know what I mean. But yeah, he's now a big lizard. So what does he have? He has superhuman strength. He has superhuman speed. He has a good lizardy skin, a very tough skin. So it's very hard to damage. When it comes to strength, he has the strength to keep up with the strength to actually hold his own against Spider-Man, who can he can take a grenade. Spider-Man's the guy that can take a grenade to the face and lift up to 10 tons. And I believe Lizard can actually lift up to 12 tons. So that's insane. And you know how much 1 ton is 2,000 pounds. That's 24,000 pounds that the lizard can carry. That's crazy. That's actually really insane to think about. And then we also have his speed. I believe on the ground he can run up to 45 miles per hour, but he also has the speed and agility to keep up with Spider-Man, who can run at over 200 miles per hour. I think, no, maybe not over, up to 200 miles per hour. So again, that's crazy to think about. Physically, Lizard is a very, he's very good physically, the Lizard. Another thing I wanted to mention before I move on about either of these characters is that some of you may be wondering, am I going to allow them to keep their intelligence, retain their intelligence? Because before they were turned into these monsters, they were actually very smart because they were both scientists. Originally, I was going to allow them to do that. However, I've decided not to do that anymore. I'm just gonna they're not gonna retain their intelligences for two reasons. Well, yeah, two reasons. One is because most of the time I find that they don't have them. Most of the time they're on a rampage. More so for ManBat, because at first ManBat was able to control the beast, but now I don't think he can anymore. And Lizard, he sometimes is able to retain his intelligence, but sometimes he's not. I'm just going to say that just for an even playing field that they're both not going to have it. And the second reason is because usually sometimes when they have their intelligences, they're not really wanting to fight. Because when they unleash the beasts or whatever, they do want to fight, and they're going at their fullest physically. That's at least what I find anyway. I know sometimes Lizard, he's like a diabolical genius or whatever, but sometimes when Lizard, he regains, when he, retains his consciousness, his own human consciousness, he doesn't want to fight, especially when it's, someone like Spider-Man. He doesn't want to fight anymore. So just to make it safe, I'm just going to say that both of them, they have their monstrous levels of intelligence. Just getting that out of the way. Anyway, so I already mentioned his, Lizard's strength, speed, durability. He also has a regenerative healing factor. He can regenerate and he can heal, both of which I believe are very, very fast. It's a very fast healing factor. It's not to the level of Wolverine or anything, but he can heal and he can keep going. He has superhuman stamina and superhuman durability, again, with his tough skin, very, very hard to damage. So yeah, something to point out. He also can telepathically control and talk to other lizards. However, I'm not sure if I'm going to allow him to use that. Kind of like with Captain America versus Iron Man, which was another fight in which was a fight in season 1 of Who'd Win and Why. I didn't allow him to like use a swarm of Iron Man suits against Captain America because that would not have been fair at all. And depending on where Lizard is, like it could be in this fight, it could be like 100 to 1, and those numbers add up pretty quickly. So that would be very unfair to ManBat. And also considering that these are actual real lizards, it might not be sorry. That might even be considered outside help, like using that might even be worse than using like hundreds of machines. Instead of using like machines, you're actually using like real lizards, like I don't want to say humans because they're not humans, but like real living things. That's what I mean. So yeah, just to be safe, I'm just going to say that they're in a place where there are no lizards close by, so it's not unfair to ManBat. What else can Lizard do? So yeah, he can keep up with Spider-Man. Physically, like I said, he's very good physically when it comes to that. I think I've pretty much said most of what I have to say for Lizard. Again, like he's a beast. He's feral, so he doesn't have the intelligence. So yeah, that's mainly what I have to say. And when he's in like full beast form, I don't think he doesn't really like hold back or anything. He's just going right for it. He also has sharp claws and teeth. I believe his claws can cut through, like, it can cut through a lot of things, but it can even cut through some metals as well, which I was actually really surprised about when I heard about that. So that's really interesting. Those claws are really powerful. Anyway, I think I've said everything I have to say about Lizard. If I think of anything else, I will come back to it, but now let's move on to ManBat. So ManBat's story is very similar to Lizard's. It is kind of different though, how he instead of trying to regrow an arm, he wanted to fix his hearing loss. But instead he got transformed into a giant bat. Most of it is the same with Lizard, but instead of being a lizard, it's a giant bat, a ManBat, if you will. So this ManBat, he has super strength. He has he can fly, obviously, and he's pretty fast in the air. I forgot if he's faster or slower than a hawk, but a hawk can travel, I believe, at around like 70 miles per hour. So that's regardless, no matter how fast he is, he's pretty fast in the air. On the ground, I'm not sure exactly how fast he is, but he's obviously faster in the air. What else does ManBat have? He also has very sharp claws as well, like Lizard. I'm not sure if they can cut through metal, but they can cut through a lot of things. He also has very sharp fangs. It's a bat, that would make sense. His durability levels are obviously much higher than a normal human's. When it comes to strength, he can lift, I believe he can lift like a car. So that's that's obviously really, really impressive. He's also very fast. Like I said, he's fast in the air. He also has a healing factor. He cannot regenerate, but he can heal fairly fast. I'm not exactly sure how it compares to Lizard, but I'm guessing that Lizard's is slightly faster. And even so, Lizard does have the skin, but I'm not talking about who's gonna win yet. So yeah, I think I've pretty much said everything I need to say about ManBat. He can fly, super strength. He's able to he's able to survive like the gadget that Batman throws at him. So that's really interesting. The only thing about ManBat, though, and I will touch on this more when it comes to who's going to win the fight, is that ManBat doesn't fight a lot of people like when it comes to actually like a real brawl. Because when it comes to most of Batman's villains don't. Because when it comes to that, Batman is more so trying to outsmart them, and he's using his gadgets to throw them off. So when it comes to actually in like a fist on fist, ManBat doesn't have that much experience doing so. Not saying he has no experience, because I don't know everything, but I'm assuming he doesn't have that much experience doing so. Anyway, so I believe. Oh, and also ManBat does have a lot. Like he has pretty much like his powers relate to a bat, kind of like how Spider-Man's relate to a spider. With crawling up walls and stuff like that. He has sonar, which is interesting, and like I said, fast in the air. Just going back to Lizard for a second because I just remembered something. Lizard also does have very fast reflexes. Just wanted to say that. Anyway, so I think that's really all I have to say about these two characters. That's really all I think I need to know, and I think all you need to know too. So now it's time to pick a winner. Again, I don't know everything about these characters. I could very well be wrong, though I do have I believe I have solid reasoning for why I think one character would beat the other in this fight. But if you think I'm wrong, or if you think I missed anything important, please tell me in the comments below, because I don't know everything about any character. So, tell me in the comments below. Anyway, the character that I think would win this fight between Lizard and ManBat is Lizard. And honestly, that kind of sucks, because that means, oh, spoiler alert, by the way, if you haven't watched my other Who'd Win Whys and you're planning to, but honestly, the Spider-Man characters have beaten the Batman characters a lot before. And the fact that's happening again just kind of sucks. And I know some of you might be thinking, oh, well, you're just biased towards the Spider-Man characters, you like them more or whatever. First of all, I'm not biased, especially when it comes to this show. And second of all, even if I was, that wouldn't make sense in this show, because that's not the point of this show. This show is to figure out who would win in a fight between two characters if they met. This series is not to say who's my favorite character. If it was that, then I could just make a 3-second long video saying who I prefer between Lizard and ManBat. So why would I go on for like 15 minutes or whatever saying who I think would win if all I could say was like 3 seconds about who I like more? This is a show designed to figure out who would win in a fight, or at least my own personal opinion. So I'm not biased towards any character. But I do have solid reasoning for why I think Lizard would beat ManBat, and here's why. First of all, Lizard is much stronger than ManBat. Again, Lizard can lift up to 12 tons, and he has the strength to deal with Spider-Man. He can hurt Spider-Man, who can take a grenade to the face, and he has superhuman levels of durability. Whereas ManBat, he can lift up a car, maybe like the weight of 2 cars, like under severe circumstances. But that doesn't stack up to 24,000 pounds. So when it comes to strength, obviously Lizard takes that. When it comes to speed, yes, ManBat is very fast in the air, faster than Lizard is on the ground. But at one point, ManBat's going to have to get close to Lizard. And Lizard does have superhuman reflexes. His reflexes are really freaking fast. So I don't think that it would be really hard for Lizard to catch ManBat, especially since ManBat doesn't really have much range whatsoever. He's going to have to get close to him at one point. And so I want, and plus, even if ManBat does fatally wound him, Lizard, even if he could get through because again, his claws aren't as tough as Lizard's claws. So assuming that ManBat's claws could even cut through the skin that Lizard has, he has his regeneration. And we're talking about regeneration, not just healing, regeneration is something ManBat doesn't have. Obviously, Lizard's healing factor is a bit strong, is obviously better. I'm not sure exactly how much faster it is, though I'm assuming it is faster. We're talking about a lizard that can regrow, again, it's regeneration and healing, and a very thick skin, which ManBat doesn't really have. And, ManBat's wings are only made of leather. His skin isn't as tough. It's like he's more durable than a regular human, but it's not so tough, at least not as tough as a lizard. What else? And when Lizard does get ManBat on the ground, he is faster than him on the ground. ManBat's faster than him in the air, but remember, there isn't going to be any combat really in the air. So, I doubt that ManBat can just keep going back and forth forever, hitting him. I think that Lizard will eventually catch him, and when he brings him onto the ground, he's stronger, he's faster, he's more durable, his skin is better, and he also has he also has more regeneration, and his claws, they can cut through metal, and even if ManBat does have a healing factor of his own, I doubt that a few good hits, he'll be, especially if they're really strong, really good hits at a really fast rate, ManBat's not going to be able to survive that forever. And I feel that as soon as Lizard gets him on the ground, he'll be able to take him down. Especially if we're talking about, no holding back. Lizard's, he physically he's stronger. I don't think ManBat he's not as suited for the job to try to take down Lizard. And again, this is just with Spider-Man versus Batman characters. While I am not biased towards either character, the Spider-Man characters, they have to fight Spider-Man. Again, ManBat isn't that experienced actually fighting people. He's more so trying to get around Batman. But Lizard has fought people. He's fought Spider-Man, who's very strong. And that's with most of the Spider-Man versus Batman characters. So while I'm not biased, I do think that generally the Spider-Man characters have an edge. But anyway, that's just my personal opinion. If you don't agree with it, please tell me in the comments. And also tell me what other Who Would Win Whys you'd like to see. If you did like this video, please give it a like, comment down below everything I said before, and subscribe to my channel if you could. That'd be really nice. That'd really be appreciated. It would really help me out. And yeah, that was Lizard vs. ManBat. I hope you guys agree. If you don't, that's okay. And next time on Who Would Win Why, we got Venom versus Carnage. See you then. See you later, and have a good night.